So, today, what we have here, this is a 2016 Dart. They're all pretty much similar from 2013 to 2016 when they ended the production. What we're going to be doing today here is we have a 6-speed manual GT. The shifters are all the same from 13 to 16 also. I purchased the short throw shifter from MPX. It comes as a kit. They give you the shaft, shifter base bushings and spacers, the new knob, because technically when you take these apart, I guess you damage the OEM knob, and they are really bad at the chrome that likes to pop off of them. So that's our kit. They list you everything in here. They say that this should take about an hour or maybe 2. So with what's being done here and making a video, I'm probably going to take a couple hours to get this completed. I do have all of the tools. It does list everything pretty decent here in your instructions. So with that being said, let's get into this thing. Let's check it out, and let's do some comparisons with the OEM shifter first in the car before we install our aftermarket shifter. So here we go to see if it's worth it. This is the stock shifter. They're really known for doing this. The coating comes off, and this creates a sharp edge, which you could actually cut yourself on. All right, which really sucks. Like I said, I'm rubbing back and forth on that just a little bit, and it's catching my finger. Now, these are 6 speeds, so you have your normal. Now to put it in reverse, you lift this up. If you're in your middle, lift this up, push over, and go forward. That engages your reverse. That's your reverse lockout to keep you from going over. All right. Now, let's put this up into first gear. I'm going to try my best to do this. I'm going to put this against here. Up here, you can see where that is. Now this is in first. Let's pull this back. All right. You can see the distance between first and second gear there now. Still against the armrest. Back up into first. There's your neutral position. There's your second gear pulled back. All right. Now, that is 5th gear. We're still tight against. Let's go into center here since we're over a little bit. All right, you can see where we are. Now we have this here. Now I'm going to pull this back and put it into 6th gear. All right, there's your 6th. That's almost from the front. That's 4 inches. I would say 4 inches of travel because of where I'm measuring it. So let's see how much it decreases it as far as the throw length that way. Now they also state that when you're sitting in the car, relocates it to a more comfortable location. So this is sitting in neutral, so we can just get a basis of where the shifter's sitting. Now basically, like I said, I'm sitting in the seat here. Now this is supposed to go into here, and if you look, I'm sure that this goes this way. You can see how it angles the shifter handle more toward the driver. So let's see what this thing looks like. I guess that's kind of the best comparison. Like I said, it really sucks with when you're driving this and shifting this back and forth. All right. So I have a couple things to get out of here. You know, we got our change collection, and you want to clean everything out of your center console because you're going to be removing that. You are going to be dropping your glove box down to actually remove this part of the center console along with this lower part here. So I'm going to clean out what I have in my center console and in my cup holder and put my tape measure away until I need it at the end of the video. And then we're going to get to step 1 on the instructions and get this shifter installation started. All right, right here is an overview of everything that comes with the kit. It's the 3 pieces like I had showed you, but this is just a close-up. We give you instructions to install. There's a shifter handle, your base bushings. This is the nice Really nice milled aluminum and polished shift handle. It says MPX on it with a little pop in here with the gears. This instruction sheet comes with this because you can purchase all three of these items separately, but I chose to purchase them as a kit that they have assembled together. All right, now we're going to get in here. I'm going to get these tools together, and we're going to start removing the parts in number 1 and number 2, and then I'll show you where they are. Okay, here is an overview of some of the tools that they suggest you have. Flat, Phillips, a couple pliers, a razor blade. You can use a scraper, a flathead screwdriver, or just some kind of a pry tool. I just have these. Here's a T25 Torx, a deep 10 mil, both are quarter drive. I have other options of some tools. So they tell you to remove these lower pieces and this end piece. I'm just starting here on this end cap here because of it's right here by the door. If you're removing something and you've never removed something and you're not sure how it comes off, always start in an inconspicuous area down on the bottom or something like that, just in case you do nick or damage. This up here is actually a little softer than this lower part, so you're probably better off starting against something hard to get this piece off. All right, number 1 says to remove these lower pieces. Down here, these should just pop off. There we go. Okay, so they pop here toward the front, and you pull forward to get it out of this hook. On the passenger side, there, same scenario, comes out the same way. They show you to remove 3 screws down through here, so let's get to that. Screw here, screw here, screw down here. Removed. This will simply pop off as it says in the instructions. Let's try to leave the steering wheel up a little bit. All right, there we go. Now you can let this hang like this. To remove the AC control here and pull it out of the way, and then unplug the wiring. So I was able to get this up in here, so all right, again across the bottom. See if we can feed this in across the top. All right, everything popped out nicely. There's the blue connector that you have to undo. Push here, and I'm sure this just lifts up, which is going to take me 2 hands. And they do also mention that you will have to remove this connector down here also. Number 5, they're saying that there's a screw right up here, which is why you had to remove that lower panel. All right, and then once you're done with that, they want you to remove that center panel that you just pulled this out of. Now don't forget, you have to unplug your cigarette wire, and it says you can pull that on the side. So I have my screwdriver here. We have our screw here. They tell you to grab this, pull it forward. I'm not sure how that's supposed to happen, so I'm going to see what I got to do to get this out. Now, 2 hands are the key. I just put my hand here, and just gave it a quick little tug. Now make sure you don't pull it too far because you do still have stuff connected. It looked like everything came off and stayed with the key push start on this one. It should do that the same on the ones with the twist. Right now we just have to unplug this. So that's probably a two-handed issue. So we're going to get that, and then we're going to set this out of the way. 7 here, and it says that it's time to remove the shifter bezel trim. To be removed from the center console. Press the bezel from the inside and outside and gently pull upwards to separate it. So we're talking this trim bezel here, which we're saying basically you can reach down in here and pull this up. Ooh. I'm not sure if it's the whole piece or just the little chrome piece. So let me look at their illustration here quick. Let's see if they have a picture of it actually removed. Yes, there we go. Okay, so it will include the chrome trim piece and this other part. All right, let's get this out of here. All right, kind of scary to do this. I'm going to use one of these since I got that in both hands. I'm going to get this off. I have the shifter boot is completely removed and unclipped. They're showing that there is 3 wires that need to be unplugged. They're showing you to squeeze the tab and pull them out. Right? So it looks like this is going to be on the passenger side up in the front while it's in the car. So let's locate where they are. Right. So with this being said, I wasn't really able to locate this. I'll show you what we were doing. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip down to number 9. Hopefully maybe when I pull the center console back out, I can see where these plugs are, because I just can't see where they are right now. I'm going to remove the screws that hold this top part here, which will be up here, and these ones back here. And then we'll get that off. And when you get done with that, it says to pull the e-brake up, grab the center console, lift back on the lid, lift it up, okay, and just we gotta have to clear everything when we pick it up. All right, is I'm going to get everything removed to this point, and we'll see what's going on there. So we're gonna grab our screwdriver. We're gonna remove the screws here that hold this in, which is here and here. That I removed this. It popped off. One of the little plastic clips still hung in there. Basically I pushed on the side of this a little bit and popped it out to see if I could get access down into the wires that were supposed to be down in there. All right, so now we're going to move both of these seats forward so that we can get access to the screws that are down here in the sides of the center console. Side. I don't know if I'll be able to get it with this. I might have to grab it right on the bottom, maybe. I might have to grab the flathead screwdriver to get under here. Oh, there we go. All right, looks like these are 10 mil. There's one on each side. All right, so we're going to get those out. I got a ratchet for that. Okay, so we now have both of these 10mm bolts pulled out. Look just like this. And our plastic clips are to the side. All right, grab up my tools, get them out of the way. Now we're going to pull this center console up. We're going to lift our e-brake. We've got our shifter here, our bezel. Make sure that stuff's clear. It says to basically pick up on the back of this and try to push it forward to get this out. I wonder if this part here pops off in front of the shifter handle. So I'm going to see what I got to do here to actually get this thing lifted up over and clear this brake handle, and then I'll show you where the wiring and stuff is plugged in underneath. Your side, here's our 3 plugs. This one, and this one here need to be unplugged, which once I got the console loosened up and pushed back, gave me access to be able to get in here. Definitely tight in here. we'll see if just letting the center console there becomes an issue. But we are actually down in here to the point where we can get the shifter assembly removed. Step 11, because we had finished everything here. All right, disconnect the shift linkage cables from the bottom side of the shifter. The cable on the driver's side simply pops off, but the cable attached to the shifter stalk has a retaining clip that must be loosened for the cable to come off. This photo shows the cable with the retaining clip moved to the side so that the cable can be removed. All right, so that's kind of, I guess, what it looks like. And then they tell you to remove the shifter assembly that's secured to the floor. And this is what it looks like outside of the car. All right, I'm completely unsure on how to get these undone here. So I think I might try to see if we can actually do the shifter assembly just like this in the car. I don't see any reason why not. That this can't be accomplished this way. I mean, I should still be able to loosen these bolts up, lift the base up, and then install the lower bushings that stiffen up this assembly. So let's move on here to the next step and go from there. Look at that. We actually have cable damage right here for the reverse cable. Now this car has it's a 16 with 30,000 miles on, so I wouldn't think you'd see that. So all right, I'm going to go on to the next step. Here we have all the cables undone, so we're going to pull this right here, cross shaft out. I don't know why they want you to do that. It's funny. Where are we at here? 10, 11. Now, here's something funny, okay? Now, they show this picture here, all right? They tell you to remove that out. Now they're telling you to remove this knob. But in this photo, they show this not being here, but they show it being removed here. And they have a photo with the screwdriver going into here. So what you're reading is telling you something different from what you're seeing. So they probably just took the closest photos that resembled what they needed to show you, which would have been on this photo here, which would be these 410s, okay? So we are skipping this part. Right now we're gonna go to this part. We're gonna pop this top here off of the knob. Shifter knob. We tried to do this. I just kind of got underneath of it and pried up with the screwdriver along the edge like this. That's why it rolled the edge. This is glued on. There is three globs of glue on here, epoxy or something, actually holding the shifter down in place. So you basically, you destroy the cover. We're not reusing this anyway because we have this new shifter knob. I did read some stuff where they do say this stuff is glued on. Some, I guess, maybe, you know, there's the clip that's supposed to hold it on, pop off. So I guess that's a pull it apart and see. So now that we got that, they want you to use a 10 mil to remove the nut. We have to remove the shift boot. A reverse lockout cable must be removed next. Locate the reserve lockout tab that the cable attaches to. In order for the cable to be removed, it must be rotated and pulled out. Okay, so that's easy. This kind of folds down and then comes out on this angle. Right now we're going to remove this 10 millimeter nut and see how that handle comes off. I don't know if we have to reuse the nut. I know we're not reusing the shifter itself. Alright, so I mean, it actually feels It has metal weight to it and mass. There's more there than what I thought. So we have that removed. Then they want you to remove the cable here, which I guess has to come up out to the side. Okay, there's that right there. Now I have to see what we got to do to remove the rest of this. So we undid the cable down here on that end. It actually, there's a spot right here that holds this casing, so I just pulled down on that a little bit. That allows the boot and the reverse lockout cable to come off, just like that. Now they say to remove, there's a clip here that has to come off on this side, a little slide down clip there. We'll pull that off and we'll get these Torx out of here also. Well, a little something like that, I guess. That's how that comes out. Alright, now for the T25 Torx. Let's get these out. There wasn't any confusion because I didn't remove the shifter. It just was something to make it easier for me. Alright. So I'm actually down to this point right here. We have, this plate is ready to come off. It is a little weird again, as you can see. They show this, you removing this plate the whole way off, but you can't do that with this plate, this bracket here, that actually is the slide for the reverse lockout cable. Now, what I'm going to do is, seeing how I have this removed, this can't come off without this coming off. I already have this removed down here, which this is the same photo that they show you over here in step 12. We're now at step 18. So we have that removed. We did push this out. They do show that this is removed also again. So I mean, their photos don't exactly line up with what they're saying. So it's kind of a reference. And if you try to go by directions, well, there's a little bit more involved, but they show you here, pull this off gently, don't tap it out with a screwdriver like I did with one hand and it'll go flying. Now there is the spring, you have to slide that over to the side. They actually don't remove this the entire way like I happen to by popping it out. And then once you get that stuff removed, you can actually lift this shifter out. So what I'm going to do is basically, I'm going through all this. I'm skipping a few of those steps that I'm going to do once I get the shifter assembly out next to this one. I can switch everything right over and then stick this one right back down in. Now, once this is out, you have to switch over these things. Obviously, all of the other parts that we are going to be removing, which include this, and, you know, getting it ready to go back in. They tell you to lube this ball with the supplied grease, which they give you right there, super lube. All right, and that's where we're at. So, like I said, we have everything here is now removed. Here's our spring. Basically, they're telling you that you need to like lift this and push this over. This is actually the centering spring that centers out the shifter when it's in neutral. So I'm going to hold this up. Try to hold, I don't know if you're seeing anything, but I'm going to hold up on the spring and we're just going to lift the whole assembly out at one shot. Okay, we'll just have to pick up on this spring and get it back up in where it's supposed to be. Okay, I just have it sitting there like that. Okay, now we have our whole shifter assembly here out. We can do some comparisons here side by side while it's sitting here. Let's remove off the caps. Okay, so we now have this here. Let's line our balls up. The actual shifter pivot point, okay? It looks like it's the same almost. Oh, look. We're actually just a little bit shorter down here on the end. And this curve right here is more defined. And the top of our handle is actually a little bit shorter. It does actually, look, this one here is straight. If we line these two up down here, our pivot points, that one curves more. This one here is actually a little bit more of an angle right there also. So now that this is out, we're going to pull this piece off, put a little bit of grease underneath those. We're going to get this removed so that we can get it down onto here. All right, so just going to do this to show you. We had the white one was on here. I basically laid the screwdriver across here and was able to push up on it. Now for the green one that was on the bottom, this one's on here actually pretty tight. I use these right here, holding on to it, and I was able to get underneath there and use these to pry off of to push this off. Now when you do that, this will go flying, so you want to have somebody there to hold it. I just shot it off the end of here down onto the floor inside the car. Seemed to work out really good. I still have to get this one here off. They show putting some paper clips down into here to flare this plastic out so that it'll slide up over. I didn't get to that part yet. Since they only give us a little bit of grease, I have some high temp grease here, so all I'm doing is I'm just going to, you know, let's just get a coat in here, and hopefully we can push this right on here pretty easy. Hopefully you heard that. It just popped right on there easy. All right, just get a little bit, since I had some extra and it popped out the bottom. We can now install the side piece. That one pops on very nice and easy. All right, now I'm going to work on getting the upper part off of here so that we can actually get this slid off. Like I said, they show you removing this, then they show you removing this in the instructions, so it's a little bit backwards. Not only that, I didn't remove the entire shifter assembly, so this goes to show you can still do it and just leave it in the car and not have to worry about disconnecting the lower part. Before I do install the shifter handle, I will be installing the lower base bushings since we have them. So we're going to get this off of here. I'll show you what worked for me. They had paper clips that worked for them, so I might just be able to push in here a little bit with some clips, pop this thing right off. All right, we finally got the clip removed, so we can take this piece off. Now, I used an angled like this, got this pried out a little bit, and I used, these are just, you know, clips. I shoved them down in there and just gave this a push, and it came off. So reinstallation, just like this. There we go. Now the top of this, there was an O-ring right here that I had removed, so I'm just going to assume that this needs to be reinstalled. All right. So there's that. Right now, since where you have that completed, this is out of the way. We are going to go down in here. We're going to get our shifter base bushings, upgraded ones, installed right now. So we'll show you how we're doing that. Since we're not totally removing the shifter, we should just be able to loosen it up, lift it up far enough, pop the bushings out, and install these. We now have grease. We now have our shifter removed. It looks like it's a metal collar from the top, runs down, flares out at the bottom like a washer. So we should be able to, some grease off my hand here, just take a screwdriver Hopefully I can get this in the camera right here. All right, yep. Either get here. That one actually broke right off. Get here. Look at that. Pry this out. All right. And then push the rubber down out of the shifter. Just like that. Okay. I'm going to finish up the rest of these right here on the shifter, and then I'll show you the installation of the aftermarket shifter base bushing. The light's not making too many shadows, so I'm just going to assume, since I did some other stuff similar on the SRT4s, that this will go down on, the shifter will go on, and then this will go on top. So the fact that everything is now removed, here's all of our old bushings. They're all off of the shifter base. So we're going to take our base plate bushings and put all them down on first. A little bit of carpet in the way on the far side here. Okay, they're all down on. Yeah, let's get this carpet moved back just a little bit. Okay, now this is going to allow our shifter base to go down on. By the looks of it, they pretty much center themselves out when they go down on, but that's something you want to make sure that you are centered. Oh, I still got to get that side, sorry. I got this side. I ended up getting a phone call. But this is what you want to do, and then you'll put this down on, and then the nuts that come with will go like this. So I'm going to finish removing these rubbers here that I forgot. Get that side completed, and then I'll show you what it looks like when everything is back assembled and bolted down on, just like that. The base is reinstalled with all the new replacement bushings. It's pretty solid, nice and firm. All right, now if you come up here, I didn't really explain, when you slide this on, you definitely want to have this part here for the cable catch toward the back of the shifter, because the cable runs down through that way. All right, now I tore off the supplied grease. I'm going to lube up this pivot point here and in the shifter and this top plate, and we are actually ready to reinstall the shifter handle down into the base and get everything connected. Fit down in here, this is the way your top plate's going to go. All I did was I picked the spring out like I did last time and pushed it in from the front. We're now ready to install all 4 of these Torx bits here. All right, I'm going to get these 4 installed, and then we'll get on to the next step. In the photo, their photo, it shows that you don't have to pull this out. Basically, you're going to reinstall this, make sure that the cable's on the other side. This should pop right into this. You'll have to get it lined up a little bit. It goes right in, just like that. All right. Make sure you have the little opening over here, over far enough. Then you can slide the clip back down on. You can use needle nose or a screwdriver or something. I'm going to take both hands to make sure that I install this clip right here correctly and it doesn't go flying. All right, we can get this shifter cable here popped right back on. I'm going to go to the other side of the car, grab the clip that's over there laying, and get this lower cable installed. All I can say is this went on a whole lot easier than expected. I put my clip in underneath here, got it snapped around the back, and just it kind of just slid right on. Go over side to side, or front to back. Everything seems to be moving and doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So right now we're at the point of having to get our reverse lockout cable installed and our shifter handle and everything there. So with that, I'm going to grab a couple of these tools and get them out of my way, along with the ones on the other side that I know I'm not going to need. We have to get the cable seated into here, slide this down over top, get it into place, run it down through here, get it into that, and get that all assembled down on, and then we can install the shift handle. So this is kind of going to have to be a two-hand job. So this is going to go up into here before we install it down in. All right, so here we go. Just holding this in place. It's moving our lock out. What I ended up doing, sorry about that. What I ended up doing was I started it in here. I slid this down on. I actually clipped it here, pulled it up, put it into this side here first, pulled down. I did notice that this casing on this actually has, if you look at it, it's like wire wrapped casing, just like any kind of small cable like this would be. This rubber casing was starting to slide back. It didn't want to quite go up into there, so I had to fix that with my fingernail. You could trim it off a little bit with a razor blade, but I did this down here first, slid this up in, and everything is together now. So technically we have everything is ready to go there. We are now ready to finally install our shifter knob on the top. So let's grab that. Go. This is our replacement knob. It does have a flat spot there. It's actually here toward the front. So right down on, you're going to reuse your nut that you removed. Make sure you get that started right. Get it tightened down. And that'll be the install of your shifter handle. All right, they give you a little cap that you can snap into here, but I'm going to wait till I have the center console and everything back reinstalled. So since we have our center console here, we can pull that forward, slide it over our e-brake, get our shifter boot pushed back up through. And as we're doing it, we're going to need to replug in these 3 connections down there. And then we'll get that screwed back in. And we'll I'll lightly go over some of the reassembly process. But if you took this apart, you should be able to get it back together. It's going to be pretty easy in the exact same steps that I had showed you. All right. All right, the center console's down in there. I kind of like it without this. They could have set this back. That makes it so much nicer and open in here. So I'm gonna get this rest of this stuff in here together. I mean, I'm sitting here now, and I kind of like it. It still looks like it's a pretty long throw here to here, but it feels like it's a lot better. So I'm kind of curious to see what it's going to be like to drive. All right, I got to get this piece in here yet. Bolt up a couple more things. I did pop this lower cover in, so I will have to pop this back out so that we can get our center in. I just dropped this a little bit, makes it a little bit easier. That way I have clearance. We'll get the center in. We'll get our climate control assembly back together. We have a couple more screws to do over here. We're going to install our top on our shifter, and we're actually going to take this thing for a drive and see what kind of a difference it makes after we measure. Went together a whole lot easier than it came out, all the side pieces. Right now, I guess it's time to install the top of the shifter. Alright, well, it's on an O-ring, so I'm going to put a little bit of lube on there. But the point that I wanted to make was, here's our tape measure again. We're just going to go all the way forward, line up where we're at, okay? Pull our shifter back so you can see the amount of difference there is there. There's all the way front. That's third gear. There's all the way back. I would assume that that's what is this? Fourth. That should be fourth gear right there. So you can see where the difference is there. I mean, there's our first. And that's going to put us right there. Right there's our second. So you can see if there's any difference there. I'm curious as far as the difference is going to be when I'm actually driving it. It looks like the distance that changed the most is going to be below the pivot point of the shifter. So I'm going to put a little bit of, I don't know, maybe grease or WD-40 on this, which should allow this to pop down in here a whole lot easier. But that right there is what our shifter knob looks like. I can definitely say that it feels a whole lot nicer. It's a smaller knob. It's smooth. There's no sharp edges to get caught on. So it's going to make shifting a little bit nicer as far as that's concerned. I just know it just felt really bad on the other. I mean, just that right there feels nicer than what it did with the stock shifter. It feels more positive. Let's see here. Reverse seems fine. Pops right out. So feels a little tighter. So we'll get this thing together, get our top in. We're about ready to go for a test drive. Maybe I'll grab some of that on video and show you what it's like driving. The shifter's in. It looks really nice. It functions great. If this car felt like this with the 2 modifications that I'd done to it when I first jumped in it to drive it, I would have been a whole lot more thrilled. It had such a bad open play feel. If you notice, the only downfall that I've noticed so far is the fact that this does not want to go down in and stay. So I'll have to play with that, see if I can do something different maybe to try to get it to actually stay down in here. But other than that, I mean, I'm more than happy with it. It shifts really nice. Was it definitely an upgrade that this car needed? Yes. I think this is probably one of the top needed modifications that need done to this car. I mean, I'm just a quick little drive that I did makes me want to get in the car and drive it more. I really did not want to get in it and drive it just because it was just the way the clutch felt. If you check any of the other videos I did the clutch delay valve in this car also, as I did the orange one. I did buy shifters for both of these cars now, and this is I've actually got one installed. I really wanted to make the install video. I was really curious to see what the difference was, and I really like it. So I'm looking forward to do a couple more modifications on this car. These things really aren't anything big. There's not really much information or modifications for these cars. So I mean, if there's any interest in any of the Dart stuff that you're seeing, please let me know. Like, subscribe. Hopefully this video didn't drag on too long as a install video. Hopefully I can shorten it up when I edit it out. But thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one.